Good evening and welcome to another edition of African Americans Ain't Africans. Sorry about that, you guys. Just a little glitch. Just a little glitch. I promise I'll make it up to you. So, Mississippi Goddams, Nina Simone. Check out that cut. Check out what she's saying. Check out what she was doing at the time. And check out what was going on in Mississippi at the time. It's very important that these things that are happening now, we know what they are so we can pass them down to our children so they won't fall into some of the gaps we keep falling into. We keep falling into these things that are going around with us every day. The same things are happening over and over and over again. And that's why I wanted to share that cut with you guys. Because that sister wasn't playing on what she was saying. And she was one of the sisters, she was an artist. When you any of these artists you bring up today, they don't hold a candle to sisters like that who was putting out music back then because they were keeping you abreast of what was happening to you. And the reason I played Mississippi Goddam because as everybody knows what's going on in Mississippi today. And what's going on in Mississippi today is that it seems like as a nation of people, we don't learn. We don't try to learn. We just keep trying to be these characters other people produce. And I'll show you as we go along in this. We're calling this Mississippi has a river, but no drinking water. And it only takes us, the antics of us, what we do, how we think, what we're made to be that would make all this happening. So you've been hearing of the water crisis in Mississippi. The problem is not Mississippi. The problem is everything east of Mississippi. West too. Do we ever ask? We ever ask ourselves, these homes, these places have been up for over 200 years. The pipes haven't been changed. Nobody says nothing. I mean, they'll make new suburbs out away from the cities where the cities first started, but where the cities first started were you were there. Oh, I'm sorry. Some of you were in Africa, some of you were in Greece, some of you guys were in Jerusalem, some of y'all was in Islamic countries. You keep trying to run away from what you supposed to do. What's going on in Mississippi is going on everywhere east of the Mississippi. Flint should have told you that. Flint, Michigan should have told you that. All these cities, they pipes are iron. Iron. Then they probably rusted 50 years ago. And we getting the backlash from it. So you can see why we're not thinking and we're not vibrating the way we should be. We just can't point the finger at Mississippi because it's going on everywhere. Everywhere. And that's going to be the water. If you ever get a chance, you ask your grandmamas, your granddaddies, to share with you a film called Three the Hard Way. It was a film put out about 50 years ago about the Detroit, the city of Detroit, water supply being poisoned. Ask your grandmothers, ask your grandfathers to help find that film for you, and you watch it, because these stories were put out. You were forewarned 50 years ago on basically everything that's going on. You were warned years ago. But of course, we forgot. I don't know. We don't pay attention. Well, you hope you're paying attention now, because if you've been looking at it, I know many of you guys have been looking at this, what's going on in Jackson, Mississippi. This just hasn't started. This has been going on for at least a year. And you have a city with almost 600,000 people, and it's probably over 600,000 people. You have a city where all these people are being poisoned. Check it out. When you look at Mississippi, it's predominantly, and they call it's a predominantly indigenous community. Most of those people down there, the education is so bad in Mississippi and Alabama, the people will be a clown if the state teaches them that, and will argue and scratch your eyeballs out if you tell them that they're indigenous to that land. That's how African Americans do. We're going to take a look at Mississippi, what it means for everybody. But one of the things about Mississippi that it's very important, and I want to share this with you. You got it, and these are the things we have to get. We have to understand these things. We just can't look at like, oh, it's nothing, and just go ahead and start watching TV. Got to pay attention to what's going on, what's happening with the people, how you're being trained, what information is being shared with you. What are you being told? The media. So if you look at the media in America today, especially the media that's aimed for the indigenous people of America, the blacks, the colored, the African Americans, whatever you want to call them, if you look at the media, the information, how they look at themselves, if you look at mainstream of what they're showing, that the people are, you would be embarrassed if you had any sense. Some people don't know. Some people love it. Some people love what's going on. So when you look at Jackson, Mississippi, one of the things that when you're in Jackson, Mississippi, Memphis, Tennessee, Alabama, Georgia, all that, one of the words that always comes up to describe the people is soul. Soul people. Stax Records. When you think about the people in the Southeast, you think about soul people. And I've always say, if you take the word soul and you take out the U and you put an I, it's soil. Soil, soul, soul, soil, they're interchangeable. And when they talk about the soul people, soul food, all that, they're talking about the people who live in Mississippi now that's drinking that shit water. This is who they're talking about. This is what they're trying to get rid of, the soil of America. Why? So the rest of the world can come over here and feast. You're the last remnants of the soul people. I mean, I don't know if you haven't picked it up yet. You probably don't know. They wouldn't do that to us. Yeah. And they don't have to do it to you. All they got to do is train you to do it to yourself. Because that's what's been happening in the last, 100 years? Longer than that? The city with soul. How is it the city with soul is drinking shit water? I mean, I like to hear some of the people's thoughts on that. Explain that. How are the people from the city of soul living with shit water? And how come the children from the city of soul, how come they're not there making a mad dash to make sure that their uh, ancestors and their heritage are upheld, remain viable on the planet? But why isn't that happening? I'm going to show you why. And when I show you, these are the things that African Americans, they like to get mad at and act like little bitches when this stuff is bought up. But you better check this out, because this ain't just happening in Jackson. This is everywhere, at least east of the Mississippi. And I'm sure when you're thinking about when these cities are being built, you're thinking about how they're coming out on the East Coast and they're spreading out to the South, Southeast, Midwest, to the West. They're building. So what's built in Los Angeles, San Francisco is newer than what's built in Philadelphia, Washington, D.C., places like that. Those places on the East Coast, you somebody tell me, because somebody, you wrong, nigga. You don't be saying that. I know it's somebody out there like that. You tell me what major city upgraded their pipes. I'm waiting. What major city updated their pipes? See, these are things we got to know. These are things we got to know. And a lot of times when you ask us something, we don't know. And because we don't know, what you see happening in Jackson, Mississippi right now, that shit continues to happen over and over and over and over again. How is that? How does that keep happening? How does that keep happening? So when you look at America, and this is why it's very important to pay attention to these words that are being used. Because remember, this isn't your language. This is language that other people came up with. And they came up with words to try to finagle you out of what you had. And it worked. You're gonna see how bad it gets. How we think we're doing something, we're trying to be other people, and we're trying to claim that we're people from other places. You're going to see how bad it gets and how dumb we look to the rest of the world, because we're the ones who call for this. So if you look at the word America, if you look at the word America, I'm just trying to bring this back to you, indigenous people of America. If you from Africa, Hebrew, this isn't for you. This is for the indigenous people of America. So don't get it twisted. Don't try to get in and cry and bitch and whine. This ain't for you. So when you look up the term America, you have to remember America, that's the British, the northern part of Europe. That's how they said it, America. But when you go to other places like France and Spanish, they pronounced it different. They didn't pronounce it as America, uh, America. There's other ways to pronounce a word. There's other inflections and inflections you can put on words to change the whole sound of America. There's a mountain range that connects North America and South America called the Amari. It's a mountain range. That word, that's a word to describe here. Other people take it and try to make it fit their narratives. And if you're one of those people who go with it and believe whatever you've been taught without giving a thought of it for yourself, that's on you. That's on you. So when you look at America, so when you look at Erica or Rika, Rico or whatever, you'll see that the term translate to French as rich. Weren't the French one of the mains one down in the southern part of the America coming from Canada, taking the Mississippi River down? Weren't they some of the people? What does Rica means rich? It means rich. How is it that we don't look at it like that? We don't, matter of fact, we don't look at it any kind of way. All we do is what somebody tells us. That's how the African American rolls. This is how the African American gets down. He doesn't think or anything or figure out anything themselves. They wait till somebody else come tells them, right? Right? So when you look up the term ama, or however they say it, and when they say it in French, it tells you it's English for soul. Rika, rich, just mean rich soul. The rich soul people of this land. Who would that be? Now I know we have taken on all kind of names and we trying to appropriate all kind of people's culture. The Negro is excellent at doing that. But I'm gonna show you how that comes right back to bite you in the ass. And you can't, and what you'll do, you'll lie and cry and whine and pretend as it wasn't you, when it's definitely you who do it like that. You make it like that. Because whatever anybody tells you, your only retort is, yes, boss, that's how it's done. Anyone who wants to converse about this, you get in the conversation right now. But back up what you say, cuz. Because see, y'all been playing these games for too long and we look dumb. We look dumb. And the people I met this weekend, the children I met this weekend are far from dumb. I'm going to show you who the dumb ones are. And the dumb ones are normally the people who the masses follow. This is how we do it. This is why we can't complain. This is why other people dog you out. This is why other people come from have the nerve to come to your home and dog you out. They won't do that at where they're from. They'll come to your place and dog you out. And guess what you do? Guess what you do? You with them. So you give the okay. So when they say Jackson is the city of soul, they're talking about the Mississippians. They're talking about you. They're talking about half the shines up in Chicago. They're from Mississippi, aren't you? Hello? Yeah, you are. You pretend like you not, and that's your hood. You guarding that concrete for boss. Well, your ancestors' home getting dogged out, and you up there killing each other like it's cool. That's what I'm saying. That's on you. Don't blame the police shot us in the back. We not getting the proper education. We not getting no water. Because you not trying to make that happen. You trying to work for boss, ain't you? Aren't you? So you try to lie. And this is what's happening to the soul people in Mississippi. This is what's happening to the soul people in Mississippi. While her descendants get ready for football season. Ain't this where you at? Ain't this where you at? Right. So, about Mississippi, one of the things we got to check out about Mississippi is what's Mississippi about? Because every time you hear about Mississippi, it's on some crazy. It never nothing never goes right there. It's always something messed up there. Always. Why is that? Why is that? Why is every time you hear about Mississippi, it's something always bad, never good? What is it? So if Mississippi is so bad, and check this out, uh, uh, Mississippi is one of the most beautiful places in the world. One of the most beautiful places in the world. I know people from Mississippi. They say they will never go back to Mississippi. Let's find out why. Now check out this Mississippi. Mississippi is located in the Mississippi River, where the Mississippi River drains into the Gulf of Mexico, making this low-lying state rich in minerals and croplands. It has petroleum, natural gas deposit, along with sand, gravel, and clay. The fertile soil is ideal for crops and forests and supports a variety of animal life. Now, this is everywhere in North America, but why aren't the people of that area, Mississippi, Alabama, all of that, why isn't that place down there being made to work for them, by them? Hmm? Seriously, because we African, we Turkish, we Greek, we give all our allegiance to them, and you guys can keep on, keep on with it. Minerals available in Mississippi include lignite, a soft brown coal that is an important carbon salt source. Salt domes in the state provide sodium chloride and limestone provides calcium chloride. Petroleum and natural gas provide fuel for use in Mississippi and for export to other states and countries. But you poor. Who are the Negroes in Mississippi watching this happen? And I'm going to show you why you always lose. The Mississippi River and 9 other major rivers in the state are included in the area's natural resources. These waters resources provide recreational activity and transportations of goods for distribution within the state and to neighboring locations. Mississippi's forests provide both hard and soft wood. Hickory and oak forests provide long lasting woods with beautiful grain patterns used in flooring, furniture, and cabinetry. Softwoods, such as pine, provide structural elements for use in constructing home and businesses. The deer, squirrels, and foxes and rabbits that are part of the fauna of Mississippi increase the residents' enjoyment of nature. The rivers provide freshwater game fish, while the seashore offers shellfish, including crab, shrimp, and oysters. Somebody tell me again why Mississippi's in the position they're in. Come on with it. Come with it. Come with it. Come on, cause we got the. I mean, we got the high education professors, doctor. What's up? What's up? What we doing as a nation of people? You would rather make sure boss's business is running before yours is. This is what the African American, Black, Negro, color does, right or wrong. I know down many of you gonna get hurt. Why you ain't got no solution? Oh yeah, I got many of them. You just don't want to hear them because you have to do the work. Not just the physical power, but the thought power. You got to do that too. You got to come up with ways that's gonna make it work for you. You have all this at your you have all this at your fingertips, but you turn your back on it. Why? Why you do that? Why you do that? You want to know what else Mississippi got? And see, this is what I'm saying. This is how come we don't know these things? How come we never know nothing? When you talk to the so-called African American, they don't never know anything. Nothing. Why is that? Why is that? Why is about all this stuff about Mississippi, we don't never know nothing about it? Now, so when you're looking for something, I would suggest, and this is just for expediency, because when you're learning about things, you don't want to spend your whole life on it. What you'll always hear, yeah, no, it's Negroes that's been studying the Bible for 50 years and still don't know what the fuck it say. That's what we got. You got to get into like children. Children know when things are right or wrong. It's just that the parents keep making them dumb, telling them a lot of dumb shit. And the stuff that children say, parents don't want to listen to what they got to say, not remembering that they were once in that position too. And nobody listened to them. Because when you get into this culture, you find out that it's a crummy culture. And children pick it up early. When you send them to school, when you send them to church, they don't want to go, but you make them go because you think you know what's good for them, and you don't. So you have all these people studying the Bible for 50 years and still don't know what the fuck it say. This is the normal African American. This is the normal Negro. They don't know nothing. And this is way over 90%. But you want proof? No, you already know. So when you're trying to look up some stuff, talk to the people who you deem as very intelligent, very practical thinking, common sense thinking. They take a lot of the bullshit out of it. Those are normally in your people. Those are normally people in your family who people don't like to talk to, because these people normally give them the head on straight truth, like a grandmother that tells you the truth. No matter what it is, whoever you are, right or wrong, she don't care. She gonna tell you the truth. People like that. And why grandmothers are so important, grandfathers are so important, is because they gonna tell you the truth. Why? Because they don't want to see you get fucked up like they've seen so many other people get fucked up. So when you're talking to people, talk to people who know a little something. And those people are normally the black sheep of the family, what you would call the black sheep of the family. They tell the truth, but nobody want to be around them because the family's full of lies and bullshit. But they'll tell the truth, and they'll get talked about. You know what goes on. So this is a Wikipedia um, profile on Mississippi. Like I said, Wikipedia is not the all. It's just a good resource to start at. You can get deeper from here. But when you look at what's going on in Mississippi now, a lot of us know about Mississippi for all the bullshit history we have been given about, like it's just the hellhole of the world. But Mississippi is really a beautiful place, a really beautiful place. And it's a place where Canadian goods can get shipped down to the Gulf of Mexico for cheap, because the people who live along the Mississippi, the indigenous people, don't have control of those ports because they're Christian, Muslim. They're not being the people who that land belongs to. They're being something else. They would rather claim something that's going on in the Arabian desert before they claim their homes on the longs of bank of the Mississippi. This is what the African American does daily. Mississippi is a state in the southeastern region of the United States, bordered by Tennessee, Arkansas, Alabama. You know all that. Jackson, Mississippi has a population of 600,000 people in 2020. You know it's probably more of that because a lot of indigenous people don't get into the census. And when you see numbers like this, these people don't count every single person. They just give you numbers to control your mind. You're supposed to be connected enough with your people to know what's going on, how many of it is you are. Because Mississippi's graphs reached all over this country. I'll say that again. Mississippi's grasp reaches all over this country. Mississippi has children in all of these states around here. 600,000 people there in 2020. How many of those people do you think are being affected by that water? Mississippi was the nation's top cotton producing state. Remember, cotton was an industry. Cotton were the Mississippians' industry. These people didn't bring cotton with them. Remember, the people who lived in Mississippi, they were producing cotton way before those people got there. That's their industry. That's why the clothes you wore back then was so bad. You made them with the plants you produce. Just like they call you the best farmers in the world. Who produced the best farmers in the world? The people along that black belt, the people along the coast who knew how to grow food. Yo, folks, you don't even claim them. Mississippi was one of the states that tried to uh, make Negroes work for free. Didn't want to, just wanted everything, just like they are now, which is why we keep getting tricked. I don't know. We keep going for the over and over and over again. Until the Great Migration of the 1930s, actually it was going on before that, the early 1900s, 1900, 1910, people from Mississippi started going up to Chicago to break up those strikes. They wasn't paying them Europeans any money up there. So those Europeans bought in the Negroes from Mississippi to be their workers. You can study that. That's how a lot of Negroes left Mississippi. They came a lot later too, like it says in the 30s and 40s too. But a lot of the white people were migrating because they were being attacked. And also during that time, World War One and World War Two, you had a lot of brothers being shipped out to go fight in World War One and overseas somewhere. So the people didn't have no backup. See, we like to, thank you for your service. You're leaving your people. You're taking all the guns. They have no protection. That's why you're giving guns even to this day, because you're not going to use the guns on the people who you get them from, are you? No. Stop playing. You're not. You're going to use it on yourself because that's what they were created for. That's why they train you to use those guns on yourself. You don't care. You do it. You do it proudly. That's how the African American rolls. You can try to pretend like that's not it, but that's exactly the fucking way it goes. So when you go down in the history of Mississippi, they just give you all kind of Emmett Till, Medgar Evers, all kind of stuff that they were scaring the people out of Mississippi. Fortunately, a lot of people didn't leave. Fortunately, a lot of people like, you got to be out your goddamn mind. I'm not being moved by you demons. A lot of people in Mississippi said that. A lot of people in Mississippi still live like that way today. The majority of people up and left Chicago, California, New York. Do you know how you do? You know how you do. Go build up those cities. Don't do nothing for the cities that they come from, that their grandmamas come from, that the people who made it possible for them to be where they are, they don't care about that shit. That's the African American. No, many of you are whine. You what you talking about? That's exactly how it is. If you think I'm lying, ask somebody in your family. Top economic industries in Mississippi today are agriculture, forestry, but it's one of the lowest paying, just the broke downest people in the world. Wonder how's that happen. Mississippi produces more than half the country's farm raised fat catfish, and is also a top producer of sweet potatoes, cotton, and pulpwood. Pulpwood, that's the kind of wood they make that's easiest to make paper from. Huh? The world uses paper. How come Mississippi so poor? How come the Negroes in Mississippi so poor? Broke down. When you see them, if you ever you can go on YouTube and just do Mississippi, pull up Mississippi and watch them interview some people from Mississippi. You'd be embarrassed. The education is 60 out of 50. It's so poor. And those of you who live in Mississippi, you know exactly what I'm talking about. The education is piss poor. Other main industries in Mississippi include advanced manufacturing, utilities, transportation, and health services. Or are we taking are the indigenous people taking care of their health down there, or are they leaving it to other foreigners to come in and take care of their health? Let's be honest about it. So see, when you're honest about it, you can go ahead and come up with another way. But if you're not honest about it, if you got the nurses and the doctors telling the people in Mississippi and Alabama to get shots, knowing damn well that ain't gonna work, what do you have? How are you proud of that? You happy because your kid went to college? Really? This is where we're at today. Oh, you're gonna see, and you're also gonna see if this keeps going on, what will be the final outcome. This is the cold. This is a part about Mississippi that I don't know how we don't get this. How don't we get this? Mississippi is almost entirely within the Gulf coastal plain and generally consists of lowland plains and low hills. The northwest remainder of the state consists of the Mississippi Delta, a section of the Mississippi alluvian plain. Mississippi highest point is Woodall Mountain at 807 feet. So you know Mississippi's damn near underwater. Well, it's not, but 807 feet is nothing. Above sea level at the Cumberland Plateau. The lowest point is the Gulf of Mexico. Check this out. Mississippi has a humid subtropical climate classification. Humid subtropical climate. Do you understand why it's some of the best farming land in the world? Do you understand why it's some of the best farming land in the world? And those people are starving. Some of the poorest people in the country. Some of the poorest people in the country. Some of the poorest people in the country. Hey, hey, football season coming up. Especially the men, is not gonna give a shit about what happens in Jackson, Mississippi. Even the football players in Jackson, Mississippi don't care about that. It's more important things to do. Brothers, ain't that how we do it? Ain't that how we do it? So now Jackson has a water crisis. And those of us who don't live in Jackson, we're not getting it as hard as the people in Mississippi because we're not there. But you better keep your eyes open, because the place you living in is probably further along than Jackson, especially if you live east of Jackson. You see why it's imperative not to train your sons? You see why it's imperative for you not to know nothing? Nothing. You see, you have a whole river coming down your state and you can't even get water from it? Huh? Isn't that most of indigenous people who live in these cities? You see, you're being gentrified in all these cities and don't have sense enough to make a better life for you and your family. This is the African American guy. And I know you'll be mad or whatever, but you're just gonna have to be mad. So read some of the stories about what's going on in Jackson, Mississippi. Read it from the residents. If you don't laugh, you're gonna cry, because you won't even believe what some of these people are saying. Huh? Isn't that what we're supposed to be getting education for? Isn't this what we're supposed to be going to school for? To become a scholar? I mean, what are being taught? The people in the state don't know this is what's happening with their water situation. Hmm? We're not checking our water to see if it's clean or not. Most of us don't care. Most of us will drink whatever's given to us, because that's how the African American gets down. See, the African American has no connection to the people in Mississippi. They have connections to Africa. They have connections to Israel. They have connections to Greece. They have connection to Damascus. They have connections to Pakistan. What you call black, those people are scattered all over the place. They don't think they belong to Mississippi. They don't think Mississippi produced them. They ain't got nothing to do with Mississippi. They just sit there like a lump on a lump on a log, and whatever anybody comes in and say, they go ahead and do it. They cool with it. Check out the tribes from Mississippi. I'm not talking about those Native American tribes. I know many of you get confused. Native Americans aren't down in Mississippi. Those are American Indian people, y'all. Damn. How come you're the majority down there? When you look at the population of these people, you're 85% of the people, and the Native Americans are less than 1%, yet you give them your land. Explain that. I mean, these are the educated Negroes. I make $200,000 a year. Yeah, this is why they're given those positions, to keep you away from the land and off the land. Then you just have your whole cadre of nurses tell you to go get COVID shots? Huh? Wasn't those the Black Nurses Association? Huh? I'm gonna show you how those names that you call yourself, I'm gonna show you how they destroy you. So if you get a chance, read some of these stories on the Mississippi uh, water crisis. I don't want to go into it because I don't want to be here all night. But read some of these stories about what's going on in these places. What the residences of Jackson, Mississippi say. You either gonna laugh or cry. You either gonna laugh or cry. So check them out because you will learn a lot. Um, Another thing that we got to get with, and this is what I'm saying. This is why the world looks at us as dumb. This is why the world looks at us as dumb. And the first thing we try to do, and this is with everybody, when you realize that they're dumb, the first thing you want to do is get mad. Please don't get mad because you're just going to make yourself look dumber. Because the thing you would think somebody else is crazy if they did the things you do. You would think you would think Chinese people were crazy if they sent their kids to you for education. But you don't think you're crazy if you send your kids to somebody else to educate them. This is how African American thinks. This is how they see the world. So another thing, uh, you pay attention to it on this whole water crisis. And trust me, you're gonna want to check out the city, the county, the states where you live in. Find out where the area you lived in. Find out when those pipes was put down. Find out what type they were. They're gonna be iron. What year? 1920? Dude, that was 100 years ago. What do you think water hitting iron for 100 years? What do you think that does to the pipes? Ask the African American. Ask the African American. Jackson, Mississippi's mayor on the water crisis in Mississippi. It's humiliating our residents. See, this is what I want you guys to understand, because this is where you're made to look like asses. And it's not just the mayor making you look like an ass, it's yourself making you look like an ass. And I'm gonna show you why. And don't be like, I didn't know. Nope. You knew. You knew. The mayor says the water crisis in Mississippi is making the residents of Mississippi look like assholes. I mean, that's what I get from. I know many of y'all gonna say, he don't mean that. That's exactly what he means. And I'm gonna show you why he says that. And this just doesn't go on in Jackson, Mississippi. This is the places where most Negroes are politicians at. They never win. It never wins for the majority of people. If you look at all these mega cities, the homelessness situation is through the roof. The homelessness situation is through the roof. It just ain't Los Angeles. Los Angeles is just a place where you can do it and you can be warm. You don't have to worry about it being cold. You can always be up under a freeway in Los Angeles at night, as soon as that sun come up, man, you can be right back out in the elements again because it's always warm. But one of the things I wanted to show you about Jackson, Mississippi, is how we do things. This is how we do things, and this is why we all. I mean, and I don't see how we don't get this. We do this shit all the time, and wonder why we always come up in sixth place in a race with only 3 people. That's how far we be behind in this stuff. Check this out. So one of the things we're gonna have to, remember is who's running these cities. Who are these people? So if you check out the mayor of Jackson, Mississippi, if you check out the whole story, this is what I'm saying. This is where we look like assholes, man. So the mayor is this cat named some Pan-Africanist. You can just tell by the name. You ever notice these cats never have African names? They only name themselves after stuff in Africa or after African peoples. Lumumba. If you know anything about Africa, Patrice Lumumba, a cold dude in world history. If you ever get a chance to check him out, I would recommend the story. The mayor of Jackson, Mississippi is this Pan-Africanist. His father was the real one of those civil rights turned Pan-Africanists. This is what you vote for all the time. This is his son who's the mayor of Jackson, Mississippi. If you just do a simple, I mean, it won't even take you 2 minutes. Just look at who this cat's grandmama was. But they call themselves Africans. You see how this shit can come just around to bite you in the ass all the time? And you just always confused. Nope, I didn't. That's how we are. You like to play these roles. You like to play these games. Like everybody don't know what you're talking about. We see what you're doing, dude. You are African. You looking more to African. You looking for the people in Jackson, Mississippi, aren't you? Yeah, that's what the Pan-Africans do. And I know many of y'all, yeah. Well, yeah, you do. You don't do it now because the Africans are coming over here and not giving a shit about you. Now, a few of you are starting to see it, but most of you don't. You're not with it. You don't believe me. I'm lying. I don't know what I'm talking about. When you take on other personalities, you take on you don't take on the soul of the Mississippians. You take on the spirit of those people that you call yourself. He don't even call himself his grandmama's an Indian from Alabama, but he called himself African from Mississippi. You see how twisted you shines are? Oh, and this ain't it. This ain't it. You are African. The city of Jackson, Mississippi, the people are drinking shit water. You no new ideas, nothing to bring fresh water, change the water system around, but you are African. Come on, black man. Show us your magic. Show us what you can do. And the embarrassing part, see, we embarrass ourselves every chance we get. Every chance and this is in so the world can see. And because we don't see it, we look stupid because we try to talk about it and don't know what the hell we doing. Don't know what we doing. Then, if we not African, we a cat like this. This cat's a Greek. He's playing that Greek stuff. City council members. Got an African, a Greek, no indigenous people on there. And when you talk, and when you hear the black people on there talk, you will cringe from embarrassment because they act how they sound. They sound black. They sound like they don't know what the hell they talking about, where they at. This is what you have become. This is what the civil rights generation have trained their children to be. So this is for the people who are the grandchildren of these civil rights cats right here, the children of the civil rights movement, because they're just doing what their parents have told them to do. The grandchildren of the civil rights movement, you have to come up with another way, man. And the simplest thing you can do, man, and you will work with this. All you gotta do is do what your people did, man. They made it work for them. These people aren't making anything work for them. They're making it work for themselves, not for the whole people, not how you used to do. You used to do where everybody thought enough should be for everybody, where it was always abundance. It wasn't just you. You thought about everybody. Today's Negro don't do that. He only looks after himself. And the people who vote for him, and don't get me wrong, of the people who vote, how these cats were voted in, over 90% of the population voted them in. So no, they don't get off the hook. This is the quaggle fuck that you're in. This is what you do. This is how you set it up for your children. This is what the African American does. And this is why the people in Mississippi are drinking shit water. Because this is who you have running the place. Now, we're going to close with this. And this is important. This is important. I know we don't want to, we don't want to think of this. Why we gotta look at that? Why we gotta be like this? This is not telling you this is how you gotta be. This is telling you how you were. And how you were is you built your own cities. You looked after yourself. You built your own cities or towns. Remember, this is before anybody came over here. In these towns, we just seen one of these towns this weekend in Atlanta, where your folks used to live, where your folks had their own water supply, where they buried their dead and how they buried their dead. This is how you used to do it. What you know as African American Negro color, they won't do this. They're locked into, doing what they do for boss. Pretty soon they won't be here, and you're going to be on your own to look after yourselves. Start coming up with ways to make things better for you and your children. Connect back to the land. The land is going to teach you what to do. Listen, I want to thank everybody for joining me today and listening to me. I hope I made sense to everybody. We're going to holler at you guys next time.